think of?
It just makes you think of the border between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. So, and it makes all the good things that we've sort of encouraged in the last 100 years, and all the things that have been promoted in Northern Ireland as a state and as a part of the United Kingdom, and all the benefits we get from that.
Progress.
Yes, I think we have. Yes.
When I say partition, what does that make you think of?
Partition? Another country.
Can you explain a wee bit more maybe?
Doesn't feel like partition here or we've been in it. It's just our country and that's it.
Yeah, so you don't really notice it?
No.
So it's 100 years since partition, and whenever I say that, what does that make you think about?
It's about it. We want our 32 counties, you know. We've always had them. It's just there was a gerrymandered, totally unionist control of this country. They'd never had any right to it, and they still don't have any right yet. And I think we will see our 32 counties in the next maybe 10 to 20 years.
It shouldn't have happened. It did happen. We have to move on and just get over it, and hopefully we can work things out.
We'll feel really differently about it, but it's 100 years of history that can't be ignored and shouldn't be ignored, and I guess a whole identity of people were created when not important to some people, and that should be respected and acknowledged, I think, if we're going to talk about it.
I've been studying the partition of Ireland for nearly 35 years. It was that long I was able to ask people that were living, that lived through it, what their opinions were, and they were telling me that they would never happen. It's like me coming on now and saying to you, we're going to partition the bog side of the Brandywell, or we're going to partition Derry, or whatever. They just thought it's not going to happen, and if it does happen, it's going to be bound to a commission through on, and everybody believed that the West Bank of Derry would become part of Seirstad Éireann, the Irish Free State, but it didn't, because after 4 years, a lot of economic factors came into it. They were on about the port, they were on about all the shirt factory industry getting cut away. They needed the English markets, the Scottish markets and that, so it was a bit of naive to come on and start counting heads and say you're in the north and you're in the south because you're Calicut president. It went big boundaries, county boundaries. So similarly, there was a lot of unionists trapped in Seirstad Éireann, Irish Free State, especially along the border there in Donegal, St Johnstone, Kerrigans. So partition to me, nobody expected it to be permanent. Everybody thought it would be temporary.
So it's been 100 years since Ireland were divided. Whenever you think about that, what does that make you think about?
Well, to be honest, we don't know much about it. We are Argentinian tourists. We're here in Londonderry, and the main reason we came here was to learn about the history. And in fact, this morning we did the bogside tours, but we learned an awful lot. It was super interesting. Obviously, we knew a little bit about the troubles around the world, but we wanted to learn the details, and that's why we came here. And it was really, really interesting. We learned a lot.
Perfect.
Happy we came here.
Just out of interest, like as somebody from Argentina, what was your opinion on partition before you came?
You mean the partition in 1920?
Like the north being divided from the south?
Divided. Partition, especially when it's due to religion.
Yeah.
I think a lot of trouble comes with religion as well. Coming from Argentina, we know a little bit about that as well.
Yes.
There's some parallels in the history with troubles here and Argentina in the 70s. So we can draw a lot. In fact, I was surprised to see Para in town.
Yes.
He was an Argentina revolutionary who died a Cuban, of course. But we could see a lot of parallelisms between ours. But don't know much about it, I'm afraid.
Haven't really got any opinion, to be honest.
So it doesn't bother you? You don't think it affects you?
No.
I know what I just don't, it never bothers me one way or the other,
That's grand.
What are you? The youngest ones, really, the teenagers, the generation coming would need it to answer more. What do you think, Oscar?
It doesn't really mean much to me. It doesn't bother me at all.
So it just hasn't really affected your life?
No.
It's been 100 years since partition. Whenever I say that, what does that make you think about?
Brexit. Definitely definitely think of Brexit than borders.
And so you think borders are more of an issue now?
Aye, 100%. Especially with voting season, definitely.
So it's 100 years since the North and South of Ireland were divided. When I say partition, what does that make you think about?
How it shouldn't have happened, and the North and South just stay together. Yeah.
Sort of makes me think about how there is still so much going on like between like the two sides in a sense. It's like especially you see it in Derry where it's fully like the divide with the river. Like is that sort of like it shows haven't really moved on from those 100 years when the rest of the world seems to have. Like it just feels like the whole sort of Northern Ireland as a whole feels like it's just sort of gone backwards rather than forwards as a sort of thing. Like it feels like it would be much better to sort of have it, that inclusivity, even if it's than like say like the divide between Northern Ireland and the Republic, even between Britain and Northern Ireland as well as a whole with Brexit and everything has just sort of highlighted is still a prominent issue even nowadays, and just feels like the entire thing has gone backwards and isn't really benefiting anyone in a whole sort of thing.
Not just North and South, it's
Aye.
like the borders between Britain and Ireland and stuff.
Yeah, it sort of feels like Northern Ireland in a whole, because of partition and because of Brexit, has become an afterthought for both countries, rather than like it sort of feels like we've been left to fend for ourselves in a sense. The government in a sense has sort of continued to let that happen rather than helping people.